So if you're wondering what's happening here in the Aldergrove real estate market, well, you've come to the right video because in this video, I'm going to give you all of the information that you need to make an educated decision, whether you're buying or selling, or if you want to just stay on the sidelines, because there's some interesting things happening here in Aldergrove. And then obviously, I'm going to give you my own 2 cents of what I think you should do if you're buying or selling. And then I want to show you some real estate tools, especially if you're a first-time home buyer. There's a tool here that not many people know about, and it's actually an absolute game changer when it comes to understanding what you can afford and understanding the real estate market as a whole. And so I'm going to show you that as well. But first, I want to show you this live graph here. It lives on my website. You can literally access it whenever you want. You can literally click a link in the description and follow along with me if you want. I have all the major cities here in the Fraser Valley because I am a Fraser Valley realtor. And essentially, some good data in here. So what I first want to go over is just talking about the Aldergrove market as a whole. What's happening here, what's going on, so you can understand the big picture. And then I want to get more into the detached townhome and condo markets in different segments so you can understand what's happening in those segments. And then I want to show you those real estate tools that I was talking about that I think, again, you need them. If I was a first-time home buyer, I would definitely be wanting them. So first up is the, obviously you can see here prices. Ever since 2005, things have gotten out of control here in the last little bit, and now they're just, they're slowly sliding downwards. And so Aldergrove isn't the only city that's doing this. Pretty much all the major cities are doing this, and so yeah, just expect that going forward here. It should come as no surprise here. What I want to talk about is sales. Now I'm just going to adjust my graph here a little bit here. And now, if you're wondering what any of this means here, just real quick, you have these little eye icons. You can pick on what you want. Or if you can just check out the legend, you can see what it means in just simple terms, right? Because one thing I find as a real estate agent, there's a lot of like real estate terms and you just spit them out and you expect people to know. Now, obviously, some of you might know, but for those of you who don't, there's a legend here. Go check those out. Go check that out. But now we're talking about sales here. And it's always interesting because when we look at sales over a couple of years, or any of these graphs that we're going to be looking into here, is that more or less the exact same trends happen every single year. The one that's the big variable is the prices, and right now prices are going down, so we can kind of, with most certainty, predict that's what's going to happen. And kind of the same thing every single year. We have an influx of people who want to do something. Summer comes along, and then nobody really wants to do anything. But then we have an initial push at the very end of the year before wintertime comes because people want to move during the winter months. And then it plateaus down. And then the same thing happens. We get more excitement. June kind of comes around and then no more excitement. And then people come back from holidays and then December hits. And so initial push, right? Summer. And we're most likely going to see that going into the summer months. We're going to probably see less activity. And then we're going to wait around until September essentially to see more activity, more sales happening. So if you're thinking about, if you have your house on the market right now, just expect more activity. Less activity over the next couple months, but then when September, October rolls around, you're going to see more activity. New listings, again, same thing. Everyone's got the same ideas, right? Oh, let's list our houses in the springtime. Summertime, everyone's on holidays doing things. Okay, winter flies, more activity happens. And so expect the exact same thing to happen. Active listings are creeping up more and more every single year. And now when we span out the entire 25-year mark, we're basically hitting 2008 levels. Not quite there, but we're getting close. And so we're most likely going to see more activity to grow. It's kind of my thoughts on the whole opinion here of what's happening here. Now, sales to active listings ratio, this is always an interesting one because it's a ratio between buyers and sellers. And if you don't know what that means, you click this icon here like I was talking about earlier. Out of all the home sales, what percentage actually sold? This tells you who has the upper hand. Under 12% is buyer's market, 12 to 20 is a balance, and 20 is a seller's market. And this is the board's stat or figure that they use. This isn't me who comes up with this. But basically, in simple terms, it's like the less buyers. Basically, if you have like less people chasing the same amount of goods, well, those goods have to adjust their prices. And so that's essentially what's happening. Well, prices have been going downwards. And then basically 12 to 20 is the balanced market of what's happening here. And now things kind of fluctuate from month to month. So it's like, and like being Aldergrove is a smaller city, so there's not like the averages fluctuate quite a bit. And let me just zoom into 5-year period here. And so the last little bit here, it's jumped from like 10 to 18. And so it's 19 right now. but really it's probably somewhere in between those two if you were to take the average of what's happening here. And so basically we're in a balanced market out in Aldergrove here. Now, days on market, this is always an interesting one because people ask me, oh, how long is it going to take to sell my home, right? So right now, well, back in April, it was 8 days, and then it was 16 days and 18 days. In the beginning of this year was 34 days. And so, again, it's quite a volatile graph here because, again, Aldergrove is just a smaller city. And so keep that in mind. But again, this is the overall we're talking here. We still got to get the detached, the townhomes, and the condos. So stick around for that one. Percentage of original price. This is more for you buyers out there. You're thinking like, okay, I want to move to Aldergrove. What can I expect off of the original price of a home? Well, right now, you're looking at about 3.2%. So the house is $1 million. You're looking at about $32,000 off the original price. So that's what's happening here as a whole real quick. Now let's get more into the nitty gritties, the detached, the townhomes, and the condos. And you can click them off, click them on. So if you just want to look at detached, townhome, or condo, it's a pretty sick little graph here. But the first thing I want to get to is the median prices here. So right now, since last year, we're down 8.3%. Townhomes have actually gone up 8% over the last year. So townhomes being basically this medium graph here, and then condos being the really small graph here. Now, again, that's this month's data, and as you can see, prices fluctuate. We were basically at $500,000, and then now we're at $610,000. So what I would say when we look at the overall graph here is that more or less detaches have been going down. The condo market's been somewhat steady here, and then the townhome market seems like it's kind of tapering off a little bit here. So prices going down in the townhomes. Condos seem to be right and stagnant, and then detached, I would say, as well as going downwards. So keep that in mind if you're looking at those types of properties. Sales here, again, we're kind of seeing the exact same thing here happen. More sales in the beginning of the year, less sales as the time goes on or as the summertime hits. And so this graph is just so volatile, like I said before. So it's like, what am I even looking at here? It's kind of the funny part, because you go from 1 to 13 to whatever. But the big thing here is obviously detached being a lot more detached homes in Aldergrove. There's just more sales happening here. But I would just keep that rule of thumb here, is that more sales are going to happen in the beginning of the year, and over the summertime, less sales are going to happen. And then it's the fall time is going to be a little bit more uptick in sales. And then, wintertime, nobody wants to do anything. So new active listings, we had two last month, 26 detached properties. So lots of detached properties hitting the market. So you're getting quite a few options in that detached space. Active listings, again, more active listings happening in the detached. There's actually been a drop in townhomes right now. And I wonder if there was a sale. No. I was thinking maybe the sales was up on the townhomes, but there's been a bunch of people taking their homes off the market here. Let's continue on here. Sales to active listings ratio. Yeah, so a lot more activity in the detached market for sure. But again, that's it's weighted. You can't really weigh that the same because there's just more active inventory here. Days on market. The apartments just shot up to 101 days from coming down from. So yeah, it's like you almost got to find the average here, and maybe this is something I can adjust on my graph here. Just more thinking about it, because Aldergrove is such a you have double the sales and the thing just skyrockets, right? Or you have, so it's an interesting graph. But the last one here, which usually holds true, is the how much you can get off of the original purchase price, or sale price, I should say. And right now, townhomes being the one that's holding its value the most, apartments taking a beating, and the detached taking somewhat of a beating. And so that's what's kind of happening here in the Aldergrove real estate market. If you have more questions or comments, let me know. But I do want to show you here is those real estate tools that I was talking about earlier. Just some tools. So that's the live market graph. I do quickly want to show you these market reports here. You can literally just sign up and I'll send it to you monthly, these graphs here and these reports of what's happening here, the where prices are going essentially, and then kind of a graph here depicting on the different You know, the blue being the detached, orange being the townhomes, and the gray being the condos, just to see. I don't know. I like seeing a visual graph like this because it really just paints the picture of what's happening here. And then if you want those ones, you can literally click, you know, Aldergrove, Chilliwack, Langley, whatever you want. You literally just put in the information, download my reports. You'll get them instantly, and then you know, then I'll be sending to you on a monthly basis. Go from there. And then the home evaluation tool. This one's pretty interesting as well. You can literally, if you're thinking about selling your home, you can put your details right in here. It'll instantly give you a home evaluation. You don't got to talk to anybody. What I will say is myself or my business partner, Clark, who actually lives in Aldergrove, we'll give you a call here just to see if you need any help. And if you don't, we're more than happy to go on our way. But the last tool here that I wanted to show you is the True Cost Calculator, the True Home Cost Calculator. And this is a tool that first-time home buyers, they need to use. Like, there's no exceptions because you have never owned a home in the past. And so what I would encourage you to do is go load up this tool. And if you're watching this and you're not a first-time home buyer, go send to somebody who is a first-time home buyer because they need to use this tool. And so real quick on a high-level breakdown, this is a sell tab. You literally put the expected sale price, the commission structure with your realtor, and then just a bunch of fees of essentially that are common, I would say, in a real estate transaction when you're going to sell. And then you can find your basically your net proceeds, how much money you're going to have at the end of the day. And if you think about buying a home right afterwards, you can basically take those net proceeds, put down the purchase price, or maybe you're buying a more expensive home than the net proceeds you have. So you just put a down payment, the deposit and down payment here, and then the purchase price here, and then, you know, fill out all the information here, and then it'll give you basically how much money you need and how much financing you need in order to make that happen. And the last one here, which I thought was the most important, is how much does it cost to own that home? Because the banks will allow you a certain amount of money. They'll give you that mortgage number, but like your internet, your subscriptions, the planned maintenance, the emergency fund, like all of these things, home maintenance, they add up in a hurry, right? So what you want to do is fill this out, and then you can use the calculator. But if you know your mortgage amount, you can just put it in there by itself. You can kind of guess on some of these, or you can just reach out to me and I can help you fill this thing out. And then if you have a strata property, you can fill that out as well. But if you don't, you know, there's no need to do that. And then you can kind of see how much your monthly expenses are going to be to have the mortgage payment and the cost of ownership. And then you got to factor in like your own budget, like how much do you eat every month in groceries, right? So the last thing you want to do is buy a home and then become house poor and not be able to do anything else. But again, if you're okay with that and you know we're going into it, that's one thing. But if you buy a home and then just realize you can't afford it, like that's unfortunate. But now if you are going out, checking out open houses and listings, I want to encourage you to watch this video right here. It's how to spot a bad house in 60 seconds. I literally go through all the things that you should be looking for when it comes to reviewing some of these homes so that you can be well educated and confident going into these homes. So go check that one out. But as always, I appreciate you watching, and we'll see you in the next one.